All right, top of the morning, be something, top of the evening, top of the night, whatever time zone you are on, we are live. Hello, everybody. A moment of silence for all those who have lost their lives. Okay, let's rock. You see the title? Hopefully, everybody's been doing the best that they can in the situation that they are in. I'm not going to be long tonight because this is just a introduction. It won't be long tonight. All right, let's get to this music so we can get it started, right? And this is a freestyle. My PowerPoint presentation or my presentation of letting the record show. I'm freestyling tonight. Not even gonna bring up the I'm just gonna free flow. Anyway, let's get off into this. Let's go. All right, software load.
And Jackie Onassis blowing.
Hey, Cookie, how you doing?
The theme song will not be written by Jim Webb or Francis Scott Keys, nor sung by Glenn Campbell, Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or The Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl. The revolution will not go better with Coke. The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live. The revolution will not go better with Coke. The revolution will not fight.
Now you know I'm getting ready to pull back that part. Revolution will not be televised. Revolution will be live streamed and live. Here we go.
White tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl. The revolution will not go better with Coke. The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
You know I love my Jill Heron Scott. If it's any song I'm gonna pull out when it's time for a revolution, that's one of them. All right, so let's rock. You see the title. We're on the precipice of Great Depression. Yeah. So I'm a free style, free flow tonight. As I bring up the information and presentation night will be tomorrow. My PowerPoint and my slides are up, and I'm just running data, and I'm gonna run some data tonight too. Again, hopefully everybody's been doing the best that they can in the situation they are in. Now, I want to go straight to finances. So let me pull this up in the background. Okay. Let me close this one. Yeah. And want to leave that there. If you hear loud clicks in the background, apologies, everyone. Guess I could have straightened this out a little. And this is actually the way I'm sitting. I'm sitting at an angle instead of sitting straight. And this is not the quote unquote presentation background, my presenting background, but whatever. Information is what we need. The truth is what we need. Um, so this Trump administration and Don the Con, Pinocchio number one, has been acting like Satan little helpers. Okay, it's something extremely sinister going on. All right, and it's diabolical, demonic. Um, and it makes no sense. It's some Jim Jones type of following and things going on. Now, this is something to think about. If this administration is exiling people illegally, kidnapping people and banning them from the United States illegally, according to the U.S. Constitution and the laws we have here, then he's going to try to keep some people here too, right? It's a probability, right? Quantitative, qualitative, a possibility that something will happen because it, and then it's a possibility it will happen again because it has happened, right? But it's another way to look at that. So if you're saying people can come and you're putting people out, are you going to try to keep people in too? Say they can't leave? So what's really going on? Anyway, let's get to this financial information. That was just my side note. Let me get to this because we would not be on here all night tonight. Let me go ahead and get this. So let's pull up this financial information. There it is, finance. Let's take a look at the stock market because during the Great Depression of the 1930s, 1928, 1930s, one of the things that was going on was the fall of the stock market, the fall of the currency, the changing and the shifting in the currency, right? And so it was indicative of the formation of a Great Depression. Another thing that was going on is the United States president at that time overplayed his hand on tariffs. Tried that isolation thing, and it didn't work. Started a trade war, and it didn't work. What happened was the impact of that was the United States went off into a Great Depression, not a Great Recession, but a Great Depression. Right? 15 million people were unemployed. Roughly around 15 million people were unemployed. All right, let me do the share on this. Go ahead and share this out. We're looking at the stock market. I'm just going to let the record show. I'm just going to let the record show. I'm looking at my third party device, waiting for this image to come on, show on up. Come on, Zoom, catch up. There it is. All right. So here we go. Dow Jones in the negatives, S&P in the negatives, NASDAQ in the negatives, Russell in the negatives, VXIX, which stands for the velocity, that's in the positives, not by very much. Tesla, I don't care how much you're losing. Stock, down, negatives. Apple, S&P, NASDAQ. Uh, so you see it, right? A collapsing of the stock market and everything is intertwined. What we do over here as a nation does not just impact us, it impacts other nations because they have their monies invested into our stock market and invested into us as a nation. Yeah, and I said it. I don't care if some of these people, wealthy people, um, are losing finance. So what? It's not enough yet. Side note, another side note, um, Elon Musk had a plethora of US government contracts, right? Roughly around 20 plus. And so he was able to gain money over here. How does one man get 20 US government contracts throughout the years of being over here in the United? How does one illegal whose visa passport was expired at the time get 20 US government contracts? I'm not asking for a friend. I'm asking for myself because I want to know. Okay, but let's keep moving because we talking about the Great Depression, Don the Con, Great Depression, Pinocchio #1, Great Depressions, right? So there it is. Now let's go here. Okay, I can close that one out. Put my next freestyling screen. Right? We're looking at the similarities. It's a little glitchy. All right. Let me scroll down. Uh-huh. FDR suspends the gold standard for US currency. Right. Postmaster, please post in a conspicu- conspicuous, place. Okay, James A. Farley, Postmaster General, under executive order of the President issued April 5th, 1933, all persons are required to deliver on or before May 1st, 1933, all gold coin, gold bullion, gold certificates now owned by them to a Federal Reserve Bank, branch, or agency, or to any member of the Federal Reserve System. We remember this, right? Those of us who know history, right? So on April 20th, 1933, the United States went off the gold standard, a monetary system in which currency is backed by gold. when Congress enacted a joint resolution notifying the right of creditors to demand payments in gold. The United States had been on the gold standard since 1879, except for the embargo on gold exports during World War I. But bank failures during the Great Depression of 1930s frightened the public into hoarding gold, making the policy unattainable. When people see things, the impact or the reaction is to do panic bank runs, start pulling your money out, panic runs. Well, in this regard, I would call some of this just being wise. If people start moving fine, because can we talk about it? Can we really talk about it? Um, why would I let an employer, if I have a 401k that I paid into, uh, and I don't know the person who's at the top investing my money, okay, an example from my work, okay, I don't know if you got it in Tesla stock. I don't know if you have it in all these failing stocks right now. Well, if my money was invested in there, when the stock decreases, my money decreases if that's the way they're investing. The same thing goes for Social Security. Who's investing Social Security money, finances, and funds? Do we know what, how? Okay, so this is what President Roosevelt did. Soon after taking office, in March 1933, President Roosevelt declared a nationwide bank moratorium in order to prevent a run on banks by consumers lacking confidence in the economy. Now, we haven't seen the run on banks yet, but that's why he did what he did. He also forbade banks to pay out gold or to export it. Okay, so let me stop the share on that because we're talking about money. But let me go back to, let me pull up my other. Now let me do the tariffs. Depression. Yeah, yeah. And I don't want it by any of you all that's coming up. Um, okay, you're taking too long to bring up the information in the background for me. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. That's not the one I was looking at, but this is the one I will go with because I said we was gonna hit tariffs, right? Stock market falling, trade war with tariffs, two of the reasons for the Great Depression, right? The way monies were being handled. Okay, here we go. All right. So I want to get past this and start right here. Oh, they have all this ads popping up on this particular site that on this history site. Um, everybody's trying to make their money running ads on their site. Wow. Okay. I'll just bear with it. Tomorrow I won't have to bear with it because everything will be in a slide or a presentation. So we can bypass all this extra riffraff being shown. And that needs to move off the screen. There we go. All right. So stock market crash of 1929. Black Thursday brings roaring 20s into a screaming halt, ushering in a worldwide and economic depression. Right. And they were right. Although it did not cause the onset of a Great Depression, it did help extend it at the okay, and I'm starting right here. I'm not starting at the beginning of the article. I'm starting at a particular point in the article. And this is the historychannel.com as a source. At the President Hoover signed the bill into law, stock dropped to 140, right? Other countries responded to the United States tariffs by putting up their restrictions on international trade, which just made it harder for the United States to pull itself out of its depression. Imports became largely unaffordable, and people who had lost their jobs could only afford to buy domestic products. Global trade tanked by 65%. In effect, the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act prolonged the depression and possibly deepened it around the world, not just in the United States, but for other countries. He said, and this is our experience. Ultimately, this influenced the country's long term trade policies, beginning with the Reciprocal Trade Agreements Act of 1934 and continuing with other acts throughout the century. The United States began to negotiate trade policies individually with countries instead of imposing unilateral tariffs across the board. Now, we just seen this happen. We just seen Don Khan in there trying to go straight across the board instead of really negotiating. Okay, people say, well, Canada and Mexico, but some other stuff, this 34% on China. Well, guess what China did? Middle fingers in the air, United States of America. You got 34% in tariffs on imports coming into our nation. We got 30% tariffs for our exports coming into your nation, right back at you. And other countries decide what they're going to do. The tariffs that he's placed on these other nations that we do trade with. Like they said, we going tit for tat. If you want a trade war, if you want to run the country into a Great Depression, we'll make sure you get there. So we're looking at the correlations and the similarities of the formation of a Great Depression. And then you got, again, an unelected, illegal, someone who should be incarcerated by now, Elon Musk, who's been attempting to slither himself out of trouble for that foolishness he was doing with his businesses over here that were illegal. Slither and slope around, sitting up there making decisions. Number one, nobody elected you. Number two, you never should have had all those 20 contracts. Number three, your behind is in trouble, and you're sitting in there attempting to destroy evidence. That's what that's been all about. How does a private citizen get access to other private citizens' information without a security clearance? and no one hired them to do so, and no one elected them to do so. And even if they were, it's order, some type of structure and protocols, hierarchical structure. This is your department. You have no right or jurisdiction to be over here in this department. This is this department that handles this. There wasn't supposed to be any overlapping. Yeah, let's get back on this Great Depression though. Let's get back on this. Yeah, yeah. And like I said, I'm not gonna be on here long tonight. In a minute, I'm getting ready to get off because I want to. It is unbelievable what he's done uh, to a certain extent, but believable if you were paying attention to his character the first time. And we went over it on this channel. We went over it. Executive order for executive order, policy for policy, legislation for legislation. We did the comparison and contrast. And oh my goodness, Google, whoever was filing complaints on me, Google was like, well, YouTube was like, oh, we're taking that content down. Oh, we're taking this content down. Oh, we're taking that content down. Remember, we did President Obama executive orders versus Trump's. President Obama's policies versus Donald Trump's. And some people have, this is another side note, had the audacity to say President Obama didn't do anything or he didn't do enough. And let me specifically talk to my melanated people who are rich in color right here, right now. You could never compare President Obama to Don the Con of Pinocchio. Pinocchio number one. That's number one. Because Obama came in during a Great Recession. And we're gonna show them stats. We're gonna let the record show on that tomorrow. We're gonna let the record show. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna run it. Because he came after George Bush. No job creation for years. And the whole world was getting ready to slide into a great recession, which could have led to a Great Depression then. Yeah, yeah. During the time where Bush was in there, his last term, and the only thing that was carrying the United States was the housing industry. And when the housing industry tumbled, so did the USA. Yeah, yeah, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna let the record show no nonsense style. Yeah, 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 yeah. But let me get back to the side note. Let me finish up side note. Uh Pre-existing conditions, your medical health, right? Your health. Remember, prior to the Affordable Care Act, insurance companies did not have to cover pre-existing conditions. And if they were, they could charge you a higher premium. They didn't have to cover disabilities that are in children, like autism. They didn't have to cover your handicaps. Who made that happen? Under what administration did the coverage happen? Under President Obama. Okay, pre-existing condition. Let me make it hit home to us rich and melanated people. High cholesterol. That's considered a pre-existing condition. Diabetes. High blood pressure. They didn't have to cover any of that. So that attorney, in which he is, and his wife is one too, he knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing when he went in there and said, this is the legislation I'm going to pass right here, right now. Health disparities. The highest health disparities among African Americans in America. That's what I'm going to do for them. Get them some health insurance. Get their pre-existing conditions covered. Cancer didn't have to be covered either. No pre-existing condition had to be covered prior to President Obama. They didn't have to cover it. Yeah, his administration with senators and Congress then and the House of Representatives, those who voted for it made that happen. All right. So he pushed for that. He also went in and agilely started attacking Richard Nixon's policies, the mass incarceration of Black people. He was going through that agilely. Yeah. Okay. That was for Black people too. Higher sentencing. Yeah. Now, let me get off my side note. Let's get back on down the, like I said, yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's go. Let's go. Like I said, I'm not going to be here long tonight. Let me go right here. Let me pull this up. Yeah, 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 yeah. Let's go. Let's go. We're on the precipice of a Great Depression. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to say, oh, it was a bad decision. No, we're on the precipice of a Great Depression. This is what it was looking like during the 1920s before it happened. Similar situation, same decisions being made. And some people want to sit up here and patty cake this along. Oh, he's making a mistake. No, this ain't no mistake. This is on purpose and intentional. I'm not getting ready to give someone who is acting like Satan's little helper a pass. No, we're going to let the record show. We're going to let the record show. And some people who acting like they comprehend, I can't understand what's going on. Sit the child in you on down. You should know better. Sit the child in you on down. You should know better. Be able to understand and comprehend what is going on if you're an adult. And that's where I say sit the child in you on down. Because what you should be understanding and comprehending, if you don't, I need you to sit the child in you on down. And don't give me that excuse about it was for eggs, it was for economy. We gonna go there. What Martin Luther King said it so eloquently when it pertains to white backlash. People voting to render to African American people white backlash. We going there tomorrow. Okay. Let me get off my side note and move on. Let's go back on this money. Let's go back on this money. All right. The source for this is myself. This is one of the works that I have wrote that I've written for college. All right. So, right here. Let me do the share on this. And I usually always use this one when it comes to things pertaining to finance and the unknown. Come on with my share. There we go. Okay. Um, another work that was written by me this year, 2025. All right. But this is the section of this paper that I want to get to. Always unknown. And I always talk about the unknown because it has to be factored in. You have to plan for it as much as possible. But I'm going to start with the subheading unknown. Second sentence is where I'm going to start. Therefore, the elements of the unknown will always exist. Take, for instance, Bernie Madoff and the Ponzi scheme relating to Enron, one of the largest financial fraud schemes in the US. Who could have known that that financial fraud of that magnitude would occur? Who could have known that financial fraud of that magnitude would occur? Who could have known that would have happened the way it happened? Now, all of this is not in what I've written, but I'm adding on to. I'm just saying. Remember, the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, which is known as the SOX Act of 2002, was created and passed because of that type of financial fraud, which was unknown at the time. No one knew it would happen, but because it happened, Congress had to pass legislation, right? And then I go on to talk about digital currency. Now, fast forward, the world will switch to 100% digital currency probably within the next 5 years. What impact will shifting over to an all digital currency have on US businesses? I'm asking the question because remember, gold standard done away with. Remember, there was a lot of things going on financially during the Great Depression. The shift that was taking place caused people to what lose financially. No one knows what the future holds in this regard. However, what is permanent in this world is that the unknown will always happen and will always be a factor in every part of life. It should always be factored in. Now let's go back to Donald Trump. You said, Corinza, what does it have to do with Donald Trump? Well, let's go back to the finance because I was talking about the financial fraud that was taking place. No one could, but for some of this stuff that Don Khan is about to do, you can kind of see that it's getting ready to happen and take place because of the way he's been moving. Okay, let me go to the next one. Because of how he's moving, because of the decisions he's been making. Let's not sit back and pontificate like we're unaware. There's no need. Let me go to his executive orders for 2025. We're not going to go back to 2016 yet. Let's just work on where we are now. Let's go to these executive orders, okay? Specifically looking at things pertaining to finance, okay? Yeah, let's go there. Let me expand this. I'll do the expansion and let me zoom in on this just a little bit more. So when I share the screen on this, I'll be able to read it and you'll be able to see it. Is that where it's at? I can read it right there, but I think I can do it. Oh, now that's too large. That's just all right. I'll leave it right there. That's good enough. Okay. So let me do the share on this. Yeah. 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 Watch the money. Yeah. Money. Mm-hmm. Yep. Watch the executive orders and actions and the things that are being done. And people are saying, oh, tariffs, international tariffs on everybody. It's going to be so advantageous for the United States of America. No, it's not. It's going to start a trade war and walk us right back into another Great Depression. Okay. So I'm going to go right here. All right. Executive order on future of cryptocurrency. And this is since Pinocchio number one, Don the Khan has been in here into White House, which he should not be. He should be in prison, according to U.S. laws, according to the U.S. Constitution. All right. Hey, 3000, how you doing? So let's go here. Executive order on future of cryptocurrency. Okay. So an executive order, this is what former President Joe Biden did. This is what he did as it pertained to cryptocurrency. So this is what he did. Okay. An executive order directing research into a central bank digital currency and new regulatory actions for cryptocurrency. So this is what his executive order was about. All right. The background is here. It said Biden administration recognizes that various cryptocurrencies have gained traction over the past few years, with the industry growing to $3 trillion market cap in 2022. So the growth of cryptocurrency was at 3 trillion in 2022 from a 14 billion market cap from 5 years prior, right? And this executive order, President Biden cites a general lack of regulations regarding consumers' protections, financial stability, crime, U.S. leadership in global financial technologies, and the promotion of safe and affordable financial services as a reason for federal government to take action. Right? We remember Bernie Madoff. We just looked in one of my papers. Bernie Madoff, the Ponzi scheme, right? Enron. They had to, after it happened, instead of being proactive, and again, who could have known? But a lot of this stuff we see and we can know from history, right? Attempting to be proactive, because my hypothesis is in the next 5 years, we'll be 100% digital currency as a nation, right? And so forecasting, he's looking at the data, the real data forecasting. So he came up with an executive order. Okay, we got to protect the consumers. We're going to need that financial stability. We're going to have to deal with crime, criminals like Bernie Madoff was, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, according to the U.S. Constitution, the laws that are on book and on record, right? Stuff that they're doing now. Let the record show on their actions. But I'm going to talk about this finance right here, right now. U.S. leadership in global financial markets. Okay, and so the executive order was entitled Executive Order on Ensuring Responsibility Development of Digital Assets. It was issued on March 9th, 2022. Okay, so this is what Don Khan did. He came in and rescinded it. So this is what he said the impact of this order would be. This executive order directs various agencies to perform a broad range of actions regarding cryptocurrency. First, it stipulates that various agencies act with high urgency to conduct research on designing and deploying a United States central bank digital currency, CBDC. Second, along with this research, President Biden is requesting a cost benefit analysis into the CBDC potential impact, among other topics. Changes in payments, methods, financial risk and stability, the financial inclusion, and the equity for consumers, investors, and businesses. This report will be written by the Secretary of Treasury in collaboration with other cabinet members. Third, the order directs the Federal Reserve's chair to report how the CBC could be practically implemented by the Fed and how this would affect monetary policies, how it's going to affect the money. Lastly, the order requires financial regulatory agencies, including the Security and Exchange Commission, Consumers Financial Protection Bureau, and Commodity Future Trading Commission to report on regulatory gaps and propose future financial regulations that could mitigate risks to financial stability and financial market integrity. That's what he did. All right. So you get Don Khan, Pinocchio coming in. And what did he do? He rescinded it. Came in and rescinded it. Now, why would you be rescinding this? He rescinded it on January 25th, 2025. Why would you be rescinding financial protections and regulations that will impact every US citizen over here and every financial market over here? And you know the future of currency will be digital. For what reason? Why would you rescind laws being created for digital currency? For what reason? Why? What purpose? Why would he not want to be proactive in this regard? So everybody can buy that Don the Con cryptocurrency and have to bow down to somebody who think they're a king and a legend in their own head with a bunch of cronies and a little punkish wimp, in my perspective, males following them. Since when was it popular for a man not to stand up and be a man and just to be bowing down, kissing somebody else's feet, sucking on their bobo sacks? When has that ever been popular? When has that ever been the norm? Instead of protecting their own families. Let me pull it back and say it again. Got some little punkish wimp men who should be looking out for the future of their families, their households, and generation to come, bowing down to some foolishness. And some of them in on it. Oh, yeah, something sinister is going on. So when you get this dialing back of regulations and not forecasting and not dealing in the realm of reality, we're looking at the money. You're headed for a Great Depression because everybody else, they're getting rid of the US dollar. It's 11 nations that have already said the currency is no longer the US dollar. So that's been going on for years. Get a clue. Get a clue. There's no reason for the United States to be sitting back like we clueless. No, we need to be proactive, right? Now we got somebody in there who's walking us into a Great Depression. We're on the precipices of Great Depression. Gonna walk us right back into a Great Depression. Uh, Getting rid of federal employees, getting rid of people who keep our borders and our food secure, getting rid of all type of inspectors, people who study infectious disease. What, you're gonna walk right back into a Great Depression. Tariffs happened in the 1920s, which led to the Great Depression. Finance, stock market falling. People losing jobs. Policy decisions. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Assuming that the United States could be isolated and we could be self-sustained, we could self-sustain. This nation don't need to do. We could just be an entity that they tried it before. It didn't work. They tried it. 1920s. It didn't work. That's why we had a Great Depression. They tried the isolation. Tariffs, 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 tariffs. Let's isolate, 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 isolate. Prop us up, prop us up, prop us up. What happened was Great Depression, Great Depression, Great Depression. It's been proven not to work. History proves it led to a depression, not just a depression, beyond a recession, a Great Depression. 15 million plus people unemployed. And by the way, when we talk about the Great Depression tomorrow, you know who was getting let off jobs first? The Black people. And he thinks he's hitting at Black people with diversity, equity, and inclusion, trying to strip Black history off of everything over here. Uh, Okay, I'm gonna get to the chat real quick and then I no, he doesn't want oversight. Yeah. And while he's doing things, um, which leads to espionage, which leads to money laundering, which leads to colluding with foreign governments. And by the way, the United States is being sued. This administration, the US is being sued. This administration is being sued for breaching contracts under this one, a breach of contract. We have foreign trade contracts, okay, that he has already breached. So you got other nations that's going to sue us now, right? Okay. Also, if he tries to backslide or slither out of the NAFTA agreement, the way it is set up, we'll be at war. US can try to pull out if they want to. The way that language is written, it will probably automatically send us directly into a war. So I need some people while they're out here pushing this propaganda and attempting to sensationalize the lack of achievements that are being made, the lack of anything advantageous that is going on in the United States of America. I need them to sit the child in them on down. And people screaming and hollering they voted for X. People screaming and hollering they voted for this. People screaming and hollering they voted for him because of that. No, you voted for him because of the color of his skin. Many of you did. Many of you voted for him because you thought he was superior and you thought, he was better and you thought he was this and you thought he was that because of an image that he built by being a reality TV star. And no one can use an excuse that he was an excellent businessman when your businesses went off into bankruptcy. Well, he wasn't directly headed. No, let's walk back on him. It's a reason that no bank in the United States of America would lend Donald Trump money years ago. He was too high risk. Had to go overseas to get banks to lend him money. U.S. Bank said, no, 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 no. You're a liability, a high liability. Mm-mm. We're not going to do it. And so he's upset. He's upset about that too. That's part of the reason why he's been running amok and act. He want his revenge. In part, that's part of it, from my perspective. So he believes in getting revenge. Now, family members said that they grew up around him. I didn't. They say that came from their mouths. He's one of those who will get you back. We've been seeing it. We've been seeing this, the things he's been doing. Let's not act like we are green. I didn't see it, and you saw it. What's going on? I don't comprehend it, and you understand exactly what's going on. It's right there in black and white, or in color, whatever color it is, and you see it. Now, like my daddy would say, get your heads out the sand, get your heads out the cloud, and deal with reality. Come on back down, touch on back now, and deal with this reality. All right. And that's what we need to do. So I went over a little bit longer than what I anticipated going tonight with my side notes. Now, tomorrow I'm going to be long intentional because I'm going to have my presentation and my side notes worked in there and probably bring up my whiteboard to write side note up there. Um, we have got to stay vigilant. We need to start preparing. This is not to cause anybody to panic or to get in fear. Although dealing with things that are unknown could be, it could cause some type of stress or duress if you let it get to you like that. But it is for us to be vigilant, not just to be uh, praying because people say, I've been praying. No, the Bible said, watch and pray. The Bible didn't just say watch and pray. You better be watching, praying, and preparing. Sons of Issachar had wisdom. They stored up for years, 7+ years of a stockpile. So when a famine hit, they were good. It was all good. Yeah. People need to come on now. Come on. Get your get your resources up in your household now. Get your resources up. You know what you have need of. Because stuff getting ready to go up April the 12th. Yeah. China said we hitting y'all back with 34% tariffs. And ours will be go into effect April the 12th, and it's gonna come to the business owners, and the business owners gonna put it out on the people. They're gonna spread it amongst the people. Yeah. So then everybody stay actively engaged, stay vigilant. I'll see those of you who will zoom in tomorrow, and we're going to go through this thing agilely. We have to make it make sense. We have to walk through history, and we have to say, this is not good. No good decision, no reasonable, rational person would be making these type of decisions for their country as a nation unless they want it to no longer exist. Unless they wanted it to collapse. Yeah. Yeah. So uh oh, Andre 3000, you say you tell your friends that all the time. Yeah, 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 we can go there. Yeah, Elon Musk is making what is it? $8 million a day, probably more than that. Yeah. Yeah, 3000. My email address is my name, CarenzaHarris@gmail.com. I'll put it in the chat for you. It's my name. There it is. I like to keep it real simple. Hey, Cha Cha. Right, 3000. The Most High embraced us with knowledge and instincts, not to just sit and wait. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, 3000. My email is in the chat, 3000, but it is my first and last name at gmail.com. You got it? Okay. Okay. I thought everybody had my email at one time because I would always post it. Uh, right. Right. But it is, but uh D cooking with D, why they are accumulating wealth, they are also losing it because they have lost in the trillions so far. The three wealthiest men over here in the world, or the wealthiest men, top five, they have lost in the tree in the stock market and other places. They've been losing. Yeah, they've been losing money too, but it's not enough. It's not enough. No, see, because when you do and deal with people unjustly, I ain't gonna say the universe makes sure you get it back. No, I believe in a higher power, a God. Gotta make sure you get it back. He says sowing and reaping is real. And I'm gonna end on this note. Can a man or woman sow a banana tree, an apple tree, and get pecans? No. If you sow a banana tree or apple tree, that's what you reap. Uh, they will reap what they sow. That's a scientific law and it's a spiritual law. You get to reap it. So they'll reap it. Yeah. They're not getting away, they're not getting by. Yeah. They'll reap it. Now, having said that, you all have a pleasant evening and a pleasant night. And cooking with D, I'm gonna have to you're gonna have to put your channel let us know what your channel is, Cooking with D, so I can come over there and see what type of recipes you got. So can learn a little something. Other than that, bye bye, everybody. Stay actively engaged, stay vigilant. I'll see you all tomorrow in real presentation fashion. Have a pleasant night.